There was a beautiful nine-tailed fox in the forest called Kira, who was hundreds of years old and had lived much longer than that, had watched over the forest and its inhabitants with her wise amber eyes that had 1,000 years of wisdom and loving glow that dazzled like living starlight, and which was 1,000 wishes. Every one of her tales was a wish which she could give to every pure-hearted thing and person in the forest, keeping a watch on them. One day, when it was very cold in the forest, a winter of freezing, when the snow lay on the wood like the fulfillment of a dream, one of the wandering wanderers of the woods was a small, humble husband called Takeshi, and as he was going deeper into the enchanted part of the forest, which he had never visited before, he heard a most pathetic moaning sound blasting through the cold, frozen air, and after the loud wailing, Takeshi found the beautiful nine-tailed fox Kira in an iron hunter trap, her wonderful leg between the teeth of the trap. He rushed forward without so much as a thought on his own safety and started desperately working with his bare, freezing hands to open the cruel trap, the sharp metal cutting into his palms and drawing blood. But he had not stopped, mumbling the sweet, reassuring sound, "Don't be afraid, beautiful spirit. I will not let you suffer. I promise I will free you." And after several agonizing minutes of effort, the trapdoor swung open, and Kira was wrapped in the snow at fall, her injured leg bleeding and her nine tails flickering like dying candles. Takeshi took a pains to cut strips out of his single warm coat and wrap her wounded leg with tender strokes, regardless of the bitter cold now stinging into his own flesh. And he made himself a small fire to warm her, sharing his meager lunch of rice balls even though his own family was waiting back home. Waiting, sitting with her and stroking the soft of her fur and talking to her gently till she gradually grew stronger, and its magic vibrated back into her great tails. And as the warmth and the life returned to the body of Kira, she changed before the seeing eyes of Takeshi into the beautiful, ethereal woman with the flowing curls of silver hair and her 9 translucent foxtails still behind her, shining in that new golden magic light and falling sparkles. And she looked up at him and spoke in the voice of wind chimes and temple bells as she said, "Thankful human Takeshi, with the pure compassionate heart. It was thou who saved my life when she could have been terrified and passed away. It was thou who have done this." Takeshi implored, down on his knees, disbelieving and grateful. "The wonder has come," and ruins his face, and as a token of gratitude bowed deeply. And in the next years, when Takeshi was in desperate, impossible circumstances, he would summon up Kira and use one precious wish, and by some magic miracle, each time and every time he used a wish on behalf of others instead of his own self, something extraordinary would happen, and that tail would shine even more brightly, and the more beautiful, because altruistic wishes nourished the magic, and selfish ones were wasting it. And at the point when his mother was fatally ill with fever, and he desiring a remedy, the tail glowed with the radiance of healing herbs, and then grew gradually again, as the wish was made out of pure love. And when the village was famished with drought, again he desired it fall, and her tail flashed with energy, and then regenerated as he thought of the community. And when an orphan child needed a home, he desiring him provide, he wished, and the tendency came. And again the tendency bloomed at the task, because he thought of the world. But tales about magical nine-tailed fox were flying through the land like wildfire, and at last, fox knowledge was well known by a rich, corrupt merchant known as Kazuo, who was a cousin to Takeshi, and his heart was so darkened with greed and his soul not satisfied and always wishing he could be a little more powerful and have more gold and control. And so Kazuo came to the village of Takeshi and hired thugs and with the use of threats and manipulations and appeals to family loyalty, he made Takeshi hand over the power of this magic fox. And he said Takeshi would not at first acquiesce, recalling the solemn warning of Kira concerning greed and guarding the precious gift. But Kazuo was a serpent and an angel and would never give up. And he started leveling threats against the family of Takeshi and his children, and hinting at dreadful accidents, and he began to spread rumors throughout the village, turning people against Takeshi with poison gossip. And day after day the pressure grew like a boa constriction belt, and finally Takeshi gave in, after the pressure became too great and he feared for his children. And having broken down in a heart which was full of terrible foreboding and deep films of shame, Takeshi sought out Kira in the forest. And when she appeared, with her 9 gorgeous regenerated tails shimmering with pure magic and with eyes shining with trust, he told her, with a voice breaking, that he must ask her to grant a wish on behalf of another man. And seeing how full of fear and desperation his friend's eyes, she, sporadically habitual to her dearest, she assented with many a trembling finger, and 30,000 more covertly shining. Kazuo laughed at her warning and put it off as nonsense, superstitious, and gnashed his first wish with greedy, gleaming eyes. "I want an inkless chest of endless gold." And the first beautiful tail of Kira was full of shining, and gave the wish, and a wonderful chest arose with gold coins. But as soon as the wish was fulfilled, her first tail did not only start fading, but crumbled to ashes, and was blown away on the wind forever, which made Kira scream and Takeshi shriek. But Kazuo, blinded all by the centric glee in his presence, invalid of the plight of the fox, and hastened to make more wishes in a swifter, greedy order. "I wish a palace. I wish for servants. I would desire the ability to control every merchant. I wish for eternal youth. I wish for mind control. I wish for armies. I wish for all secrets. I do hope that the throne of the emperor." And as one of these self-seeking, pernicious desires, each other, one of the beautiful tails of Kira withered and faded and crumbled away, and then her magic became devoured in the darkness of lust, and her body grew more brittle and transparent, and her shrieks of pain were ignored by the deaf ears of Kazuo, and Takeshi himself saw with absolute horror and despair that one of her beautiful figures who had rescued his family was being destroyed right before his eyes, crying her shrieks of agony being stifled by the deaf ears of Kazuo.
"Kill her, please, Kazuo! You are killing her!"
But the root of an insane selfishness was now the lot of Kazuo, as of eyes gone wild with insanity at seeing more, and he shouted his 9th and last desire. "I wish to grow immortal and all-powerful, a god among men." And the last tail which Kira had left now started glowing. But this time, it was not stiff, golden light, but the alternating current of warning, dark red energy. And Kira stared at Kazuo, pleading with dying eyes that she saw him eternally, his mouth open in infinite agony, to lose what she had earned by giving him the last drop of her blood, and said to him, "So be it, you glutton. Have that upon which your evil heart truly deserved. You shall become immortal. Straighten your neck. You will spend eternity, and all your stolen delights turn." As soon as the 9th tail was torn off and reduced to ashes, the gorgeous magic visage of Kira started slowly fading, her millennia of magic running out. And Takeshi ran to her as she was becoming a snuff box and embraced her in her fading, transparent body. And Kira smiled as she died, even as she faded, touch his tear-streaked face tenderly with a dying paw. "Sweet Takeshi, you have nothing to repent." and all your heart, even in the face of unsomewhere impossible pressure, remained pure. And so, like use, you healed and multiplied the things you wished to heal. And that love made 8 of my tales grow again and gave me centuries more joyful days. And greed will never win because of you, but it will lose because of you. You have made people know that goodness is not lost, and that which is lovingly given multiplies. And with those last intelligent words, Kira had become utterly diffusive into millions of golden twinkles which flew up into the sky like falling stars, backwards. And there, where she had slept, was a bunch of 9 beautiful silver foxflowers which had never been seen in the world before. And beside them stood one red fox kit, an ordinary one with no tails, but bright, knowing eyes. Kira, reborn without magic, but with life, and a second innocent opportunity because Takeshi had loved and cried over her, gave a little miracle. Takeshi very cautiously picked up the little fox cub and brought her home, where he took her in as she was raised the rest of his life. And the merchant Kazuo's stone statue stood in the forest as a permanent warning. And Takeshi spent his remaining years traveling to every village, sharing Kira's story, teaching children and adults alike about the sacred difference between need and greed, about how selfless wishes create magic while selfish wishes destroy it, about how true friendship is worth more than all the wishes in the universe, about how we must treasure and protect those who help us rather than exploiting them. And his story spread across generations, becoming legend, teaching that the greatest magic we can ever possess is a grateful, generous heart that uses whatever gifts it receives to heal and help others, rather than to hoard and control. And that those 9 tales represented 9 chances to choose between love and greed. And only love allows magic to regenerate and flourish, while greed causes everything beautiful to wither and die and turn to bitter ash. And even today, when people see 9 of anything, they remember the 9-tailed fox Kira, who gave everything, teaching the world that wishes granted from love create miracles that multiply forever. But wishes demanded from greed create curses that destroy both the wisher and the wish. And that the truest magic is recognizing we have enough when we have love. And the deepest tragedy is losing everything while grasping for more. And Kira's 9 silver foxflowers still bloom in that enchanted forest, glowing softly at night with gentle golden light. And those who find them and treat them with reverence say they can hear on the wind the sound of wind chimes and temple bells, and sometimes see 9 ghostly tails dancing in the moonlight, reminding all who witness that magic never truly dies when it was born from selfless love. It only transforms into something even more beautiful and eternal, living forever in the stories we tell, the lessons we learn, the kindness we show, and the gratitude